Danish researchers studying home lighting found that Denmark uses significantly less overhead lighting per household than almost any other country studied. And the reason isn't cost. It's that Danish culture has quietly identified something most homes elsewhere have never questioned. The specific kind of light in a room shapes mood as much as anything else in it. And most people are sitting under exactly the wrong kind every single evening without realizing it. Today, I'll walk you through 9 things Danish homes almost never have when it comes to light. Stay until number 6, because it's probably switched on in your ceiling right now. And it's quietly working against the exact feeling you're trying to create in the evening. Let's begin. Danish lighting culture treats light the way other cultures treat furniture. Chosen deliberately, layered thoughtfully, never left to a single default source doing all the work. This distinction matters more than it initially sounds, because most homes never actually choose their lighting at all. A single overhead fixture typically comes pre-installed, switched on by default, and simply accepted as the room's lighting solution, without ever being evaluated against alternatives. Danish interior culture treats that default as a starting point to override, not a finished decision, applying the same intentionality to light that gets applied to a sofa or a rug. An active choice, rather than whatever happened to already be there. Let's look at what that principle asks people to remove. Number 1. A single bright bulb as the only light source in a room. Danish homes tend to distribute light across several smaller, lower sources, rather than relying on one dominant fixture to illuminate an entire space evenly. A single bright source flattens a room, removing the shadow and contrast that make a space feel dimensional rather than clinical. Number 2. Cool white or blue-toned LED bulbs used anywhere in living spaces. Danish households consistently favor warm color temperatures, generally in the range associated with candlelight and early sunset, over the cooler, bluer light many energy-efficient bulbs default to. The difference sounds subtle described this way, but the felt effect in a room is considerable. Number 3. Bare, uncovered bulbs, visible without a shade or diffuser. Exposed light sources tend to create harsh, direct glare, rather than the softened, ambient glow Danish interiors favor. And Danish homes will very rarely leave a bulb visibly exposed in a room meant for evening relaxation. Number 4. Only one light source lit at a time, rather than several smaller sources layered together. A room lit by a single lamp reads as dim and inadequate. The same room lit by 3 or 4 smaller sources at similar low intensity reads as warm and intentional, despite potentially producing comparable total light output. Number 5. Fluorescent lighting anywhere in a living space, kitchen or bedroom. Fluorescent light's specific flicker rate and color rendering, even when not consciously perceptible, has been associated in some research with increased eye strain and a colder emotional read on a space. And Danish interiors treat it as fundamentally unsuited to anywhere meant for genuine relaxation. Now here's number 6, the one I promised, and it's probably switched on in your ceiling right now. Number 6. Overhead ceiling lighting used at all once evening arrives. This is the single most common lighting choice in American living spaces after dark, and it's almost entirely absent from Danish evenings specifically. Here's what's worth sitting with. Overhead light, positioned directly above and shining downward, creates exactly the lighting angle least similar to how humans experienced light for nearly all of human history. Firelight and lamplight from below or beside, not from directly overhead. Overhead light also casts shadows in a specific, unflattering downward direction, under the eyes, beneath the chin, a lighting angle photographers and filmmakers have long avoided for exactly this reason. Generally reserved for interrogation scenes, rather than anything meant to feel comfortable. Danish homes switch overhead lights off almost entirely once the sun sets, relying instead on table lamps, floor lamps, and candles, positioned at seated eye level or below. A lighting angle research on circadian and mood response suggests reads as far more restful to the nervous system than downward cast overhead light ever does. Number 7. Light fixtures without dimmer capability, forcing a room into one fixed intensity regardless of time of day or activity. Danish homes tend to treat adjustable intensity as close to essential, the same fixture serving bright functional daytime tasks and dim restful evening hours through nothing more than a simple adjustment. A single fixture doing the work that might otherwise require several different lamps entirely. Number 8. Identical lighting intensity maintained from morning through night with no deliberate transition. Many homes essentially run one lighting setting all day, switched fully on or fully off with nothing in between. Danish evenings tend to include a specific transition, lights deliberately dimmed or switched to warmer sources as the evening progresses, treating the shift itself as a small, repeated signal to the body that the day is winding down. A physical cue running parallel to whatever the clock itself says about the hour. Number 9. And this is the one that tends to land differently than the rest. Cold, clinical light from a workspace or bathroom bleeding visibly into a living or relaxation area. An open door revealing a harshly lit bathroom mirror, or a home office desk lamp visible from the couch, quietly reintroduces the exact daytime, task-oriented lighting quality the rest of the room was carefully arranged to avoid, undermining the whole evening atmosphere from a source most people never think to close a door against. It's a small, easily overlooked detail, precisely because the offending light isn't even in the room being relaxed in, simply visible from it, close enough to register without ever being consciously identified as the source of the disruption. That's all 9. Here's a simple 2-part test for your own home. First, the angle test. Is your main evening light source shining down from above or up and across from a lower position? Second, the temperature test. Does the light feel closer to daylight or closer to candlelight? Light that fails either test is worth reconsidering as evening approaches. It's worth naming why this particular category deserves more attention than it usually gets. Lighting is one of the few elements of a room that shapes mood continuously and involuntarily, registered by the nervous system well before it's ever consciously evaluated. A cluttered shelf can be ignored by simply looking elsewhere. Overhead light illuminates the entire field of vision at once, impossible to look away from in the same way. Which may be exactly why its effect on mood tends to be so outsized relative to how rarely it gets questioned. A calmer evening was never built through better furniture or a bigger renovation. It was built the way Danish homes tend to build it, one carefully chosen light source at a time, treating the quality of light in a room as seriously as everything else inside it. Tell me in the comments which number describes your living room right now, and let's talk about which lighting change you're trying first. Which number is your ceiling doing right now? Meet us in the comments and tell us. I'll see you in the next one.